everyone, and welcome back to Animation Pilgrimage, where we watch every single theatrically released animated film in order. I'm Sean.
And I'm Tennille.
And today we are looking at Disney's 1959 Sleeping Beauty.
Yes. So, okay. This definitely marks the end of an era.
Yeah.
If you're familiar with, like, the Disney... There's certain, like, Disney eras that most, like, animation historians agree with. You've got the golden age of animation, which is, like, all their old shorts before Snow White started, and then goes up through Bambi.
Right before the wartime films.
Right before the wartime films. And then you've got wartime / propaganda films. I think they're mostly called, like, the wartime films, though. Or the package film era.
Yeah. That's one that sounds very familiar.
It's package film era. And then those go up through Ichabod and Mr. Toad, I think, is the last film in the package film era. And then Cinderella starts the Silver Age. And before we started Animation Pilgrimage, I always never really understood why this was called the Silver Age. Because I thought about the movies that were in this age, and I'm like, you know what, but I like a lot of these films just as much, if not more, than some of the Golden Age films. But after doing this, I think I finally understand why. It's like rewatching rewatching a lot of these Silver Age films. I'm like, you know what? No, actually, a lot of the Gold Age films do stand up better.
And these just have a slightly different feel to them. Like, the animators, sure, are a lot more confident in stuff, but...
Yeah, the level of skill is definitely not something that you can even, like,
compare.
Question. Yeah, like, the only films that even come close to being, like, as technically good as some of these films are Pinocchio and Bambi, where the studio went full out. And there's just some details there that aren't found in any other movie after that. Like, the insane camera work in Bambi, the near photorealism of the animals, the incredible effects work and shading and just little details in Pinocchio.
Oh, yeah. But anyways...
Yeah. All that being said, no movie we've seen prior has come close to the sheer mastery and, like, just insane crap that they pulled off for this film.
Yes. I don't know this for sure. You'll have to correct me if I'm wrong. But does this movie have the largest budget for an animated film of all time? For inflation.
Oh, of all time. Ooh, I'm gonna have to look that up. Cause yeah, I'd have to see with inflation.
It's like adjusted with inflation, and heck, even if you just wanted to go with traditionally animated films and leave out 3D animated films, because that's a different ballpark.
Yeah.
But it's got to be one of the absolute most expensive films. I mean, at this point, yes.
Yeah.
At this point in time, this movie was the most expensive film.
I'm pretty sure. It at least, in terms of what it made back and how much was spent to make it, it's definitely one of the most expensive films Disney has ever made.
Yeah, because they never made back the budget on this.
Well, I mean, like, they did eventually, but yeah, it took
a long time.
It did not perform the way the studio wanted it to perform, which is why after this film, we see a drastic change in Disney Studios again. And I'll talk more about that later.
Yeah. We'll talk more about that once we get to the next Disney film, I'm sure.
But this is the last film that has that uses Disney's ink and paint department. And wow, that's such a bittersweet feeling. And
they do such a fantastic job.
Yeah.
Everyone does such a fantastic... They gave this movie 10,000% in like every category except one.
Except the story.
Yeah, that's the one category.
Yeah. Yeah, the story is really where
it's
you feel...
incredibly safe, but it's kind of hollow because of it.
I was going to say that you really feel Walt's absence on this one.
Mm-hmm.
Like, he hasn't been around as the guy's story man for quite a while, but in this one in particular, I think it's because they're doing a fairy tale again, and yet it's so thematically different from Snow White and Cinderella, in that it really doesn't have anything to say, unfortunately. It's just kind of, it's a nice story, but the story doesn't have anything to say like Cinderella did or like Snow White did.
Yeah, this is a fairy tale, and we're not going to delve into a whole lot of deeper meaning or anything than that.
Right. Well, and it's...
Evil is evil, good is good.
Yeah, I don't envy the story people on this project either, because just thinking of the source material itself, it's really hard to come up with any kind of like modern theme to take on to Sleeping Beauty.
Yeah. Because it's some chick sleeping in a tower because she was cursed, and Prince just comes along and kisses her and wakes her up.
I do think that the movie has good characters that could have some really cool themes with them, but the movie doesn't explore those, and they'd also be just kind of awkward things for Disney to talk about in 1959. Like, you have the whole kind of subplot with King Stefan is actually one of my favorite parts of the film. The fact that, like, the movie opens and it's like King Stefan and his wife have been trying for years to have a kid, and they finally have a daughter, Princess Aurora, only to immediately have these fairies take her away, and they don't get to see her grow up for 16 years.
They could have delved into that, and...
Yeah, and then the movie actually does try to, like, bring up that fact a few more times. Like, you've got the scenes between King Hubert and Stefan where, you know, they're kind of joking back and forth. Like they kind of have an argument about it, but this is all played for laughs. About how, you know, King Stefan's like, what? Our kids are going to get married right away, but I haven't seen my daughter in 16 years.
Can I at least, you know...
have a few days to bond?
Something?
Yeah.
Come on. Okay, I guess we've talked quite a bit about this film. Maybe we should do a brief summary of the plot in case someone...
someone hasn't seen it.
In case someone hasn't seen it, because I know a lot of people probably have heard quite a bit about this movie and know a lot of the very iconic characters from this movie, but I don't know how many people have actually seen this film, necessarily, or seen it more than once. So... It's
always just odd to me, because I assume that everybody has seen every Disney film at least 5 times in their life.
And you'd be surprised... Well, most people haven't, Neil.
I know. But to me, it just seems like something that should be... like...
That's like a childhood requirement?
Right. It's like, I see... Disney is such a big culture milestone that it always surprises me how much people can talk about Disney films as if they know what they're talking about.
And then admit that they've never actually seen blank film.
Or seen any of them, and you're just like...
Wait, you're passing judgment on a whole, like, studio worth of work, and you've never seen any of the films? Okay. Except for, like, one, and you saw, like, the worst one?
And you saw it when you were 5?
So...
And you haven't bothered rewatching it since?
Hush up. Anyways, let's go into that plot summary.
Yeah.
So, the movie...
It's really pretty simple
It's a very
plot.
simple plot. Like you said, King Hubert...
No, King Stefan.
King Stefan and his wife are having troubles having a kid. They finally do. They have the young Princess Aurora. And the whole kingdom comes out to be present for, like...
In some beautiful crowd animated shots, by the way.
Yes, this is gorgeous. Gorgeous shots of them just leading up to this castle. And, I mean, we're going to go into this in more detail later, but all the backgrounds in this movie are... insane. Oh, that level of detail. Anyways, so while they're there, the kingdom comes out to rejoice her birth and give her presents and all this stuff, including the 3 good fairies, Flora, Fauna, and Merryweather. I was going to say Methyweather or something.
Flora, Fauna, Merryweather.
Yes. And they show
Otherwise known as the red one, the green one, and the blue one.
The adorable pudgy one, the thinner one, and then the angry one.
Well, it's like the bossy one, the ditzy one, and then the girl who gets shit
The
done.
snarky one.
I love Merryweather.
Oh yeah, Merryweather's the best.
I mean, I honestly love all 3 of them, but like, I think if I had to say my favorite to least favorite, it's definitely Merryweather, Fauna, and then Flora.
Really? I think I would have to switch Flora and Fauna.
Oh yeah, you like the bossy one more?
Yeah, I think just because she has so much more interaction and like back and forth with Merryweather that works so well, and Fauna is just kind of there. She doesn't.
Fauna has some of the funniest bits though.
It's true. It's just she doesn't get the interaction with the other 2 as quite as much as the other 2 who are constantly berating each other.
Yeah, that's true.
But yeah, all 3 of these characters are great.
Yeah.
I forgot how good these guys or like these girls were.
They're laugh out loud funny.
Oh yeah, it's like they're constantly making great jokes and their mannerisms are amazing.
It's not just their lines too. They're like the actual acting in the animation is some of the funniest stuff.
It's so good.
Like
Just,
the part where
things.
Fauna's making the part where Fauna's making the cake is like my favorite scene in the whole movie.
Just every part of
so
that.
funny. Fold 2 eggs. Okay.
And her face. You're making yourself laugh just thinking about it.
So good though.
Anyways, they come down. Flora gives her the power of song or beauty.
I think it's beauty.
Gives her the power of beauty, and she'll be blessed to be beautiful for all of her days.
Yeah.
And then Fauna comes along and gives her the power of song, and she will have a beautiful voice for all of her days. And Merryweather is about to give hers when boom, boom, boom.
Those symbols, man.
Maleficent shows up.
Who is an evil fairy.
An evil fairy who was not invited. And she's a little... she's peeved that she was not invited.
Oh,
so
she's so salty.
literally because she was not invited... She curses this child to die on her 16th birthday by pricking her finger on a spinning wheel.
Okay, people always say it's because she wasn't invited. Like, to be honest, Maleficent would have done this whether or not she was invited anyway. Like,
I mean, that's
just
true.
her excuse.
I mean, but also, I love how incredibly petty she is about things. She's like, oh, you didn't invite me? Okay, well, then I'm going to go with a super elaborate way of killing her as compared to, like, just having her die.
Oh, yeah. Maleficent isn't... I love her. I love her
She's the level
so
of
much.
incredibly petty and, like, very personal evil.
Right. She's not...
She's not going to take over the world or anything.
Yeah, she doesn't care about, like, ruling the world. She just cares about making sure that your day goes poorly. And that you think about how tomorrow's going to go poorly, too. Mm-hmm. And the next day.
She is much more akin to, like, evil,
incarnate
old fairies and, like elves and stuff from, like, old fairy tales where they're just there to mess with you and make your life miserable. Except she's super evil on top of that. Mm-hmm. She is great, and her animation is gorgeous.
Oh, Mark Davis. Okay, I'm actually going to say this now. Mm-hmm. Mark Davis animated Maleficent, did fantastic work. But you know who else he animated on this film?
I'm going to say it was Aurora herself.
It was.
Whoa, yes, got it. Woo.
Good job.
High five myself.
What made you guess that?
I don't know. I think it's something about they have very similar facial structure, all things considered.
It's true. And I think that's...
You've shown me a lot of, like, the rough,
yeah,
quote-unquote, rough cells of animation from this movie. Yeah. And I just keep remembering that Maleficent and Aurora look so clean for being the rough drawings. Mm-hmm. I mean, I'm sure you're showing them on screen.
Yeah, the rough animation, yet again, quote-unquote, rough animation on this movie makes me want to dig myself a grave because it's just like, oh my god, it's beautiful.
And, like, just in comparison, you should, like, show one or two cells from, like, I don't know, another character from this film, or maybe, like, just a couple of films back, just to show what rough animation normally looks like.
Or I'll just throw up some Glenn Keane rough animation to make people be like, whoa, okay.
Yeah, that guy's a master. That is still alive today. So. Yeah.
Well, and I mean...
he's got a very different style.
Yeah, Glenn Keane has a very different style, and he's very rough on his paper. So, you know, Mark Davis's just, like, super clean artwork that's just so graphic is amazing.
Oh, yeah, it's so good.
He like, I have no doubts in saying that I think he kind of steals this film.
I mean, just with those two characters, yes.
Yeah.
And, like, the amount of subtle, amazing, gorgeous little details that, like, Maleficent does, and just, like, how still she is.
Mm-hmm. Like, Mark Davis has had some great bits in the past, but, like, I feel like this is the film where he really shines. And he has a couple more films after this where he shines too. But, like, even Milt Kahl's work, while, of course, I love Milt Kahl, he's probably my favorite of the Nine Old Men, I just don't think that even Milt's work holds a candle to Mark Davis's in this movie.
Now, I'm going to make a guess as who Milt did.
Yeah.
I think I remember he got stuck with the Prince again?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yep, so he animates Prince Philip.
Who we haven't even talked about yet.
Yeah, and then he also gets the scene between Stefan and Hubert.
Oh, okay. Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah.
All right, and that's a great scene.
Yeah, and he worked with John Lounsbury, I think, on that scene. So, like, about halfway through the scene, it switches to John, but it's still Milt's key animation.
Okay, yeah. All right. Anyways, getting back to the
story. Yeah.
So after Maleficent leaves this terrible curse, Merryweather is stuck. Having to use her gift to
try
to undo the curse as much as she can. So she makes it so that instead of dying, she just goes into a deep sleep until she can be awoken by true love's kiss.
Mm-hmm.
And after this, everyone's kind of like a little upset, you know.
King Stefan orders that all these spinning wheels get burned.
And that's some gorgeous fire.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
So good.
Yeah.
It's so good. I love it.
Well, and like all the spinning wheels have like the details of the wood and like painted on like just like decoration and stuff, and I'm just like, oh my gosh, this is just one shot in the movie. We only see it for like 10 seconds. Oh, anyway, I see some people point at this as a plot hole. Is like, well, King's like, why is everybody in this movie so worried about her pricking her finger on a spinning wheel when the curse says that she's gonna do it on her 16th birthday? No, watch the friggin' movie again, you stupids. Maleficent specifically says that before the sun sets on her 16th birthday, so it could happen any time from now till then.
Yeah. That's why they do it.
Yeah.
I guess one small note that we missed out is that even though she was just born, she has been betrothed to Prince Philip.
Yeah.
Who is significantly older than her. I would say he's like at least 5 or 6, maybe even 7 to 10 at this point.
Yeah, but I mean...
whatever.
Yeah.
Old times, whatever.
Yeah.
And anyways...
The whole point, the whole reason that they have these two betrothed anyways, because Hubert and Stefan are such good friends and they want to like merge their kingdoms.
Yeah, merge their kingdoms and stop having to go through the rigmarole of, well, technically we're different countries and we have to uphold that stuff and not potentially go to war or whatever, and we don't want to deal with that. So we're gonna have our kids get married. Anyways, the three good fairies are worried they feel like they should do more. So they figure out that they're going to go hide in the woods and take the child with them and just pretend to be peasant women, which is like out in the woods and no one will find them, and like they'll not use any magic and they hide away for the 16 years and then bring her back and keep all of it a secret from Aurora as well. Yeah,
they even, for 16 years of her life, they even call her Briar Rose. Just so that they make sure that nobody catches on that she is Princess Aurora.
So they do this.
And on her 16th birthday, they try to put together like a nice little party for her before they take her back to the castle. But things kind of go awry when Aurora accidentally ends up meeting Prince Philip out in the woods and falls in love with him without knowing that he is Prince Philip.
And that she's already betrothed to him.
Yeah.
At the same time, the three good fairies are having difficulties making a dress and cooking a cake. So they eventually give up and pull out the magic. And wouldn't you know it, Maleficent's crow...
Do you know what her crow is called? I don't think they ever mention it in the movie.
Then no, I don't know what the name of this crow is.
Diablo.
Diablo?
Yes.
Nice. Diablo sees them and notifies Maleficent of the whole goings-ons.
Yeah. There's actually a great scene in Maleficent's castle where Maleficent's asking her goons, like, why can't we find her? This is so aggravating. And then her goons reveal that... For 16 years, they've been looking in baby cradles because they've been looking for a baby this whole time. Yeah. And Maleficent's like, oh... a baby, and then just goes nuts on him.
Like laughs and then blasts him with thunder and lightning.
Yeah. Fantastic stuff. But anyway, Diablo reports where she is.
The three good fairies.
Aurora comes back and she's like, oh, I met someone out in the woods. And they're like,
no!
Briar Rose, you weren't supposed to talk to anyone.
And you can't meet this boy again because you're actually a princess and we're leaving tonight and you're never coming back.
Yeah.
And she's...
Understandably upset.
Understandably upset because the one thing that she's been allowed to do with her life immediately gets ruined.
Yeah.
She's like, I don't care about being a princess or whatever. I met this boy. We're gonna run away together and get married.
I mean, this poor girl has been cooped up with these three really ditzy women for 16 years. I don't blame her.
Either way, they take her back to the castle, and we have a scene where the two kings are like planning out, or like have already planned out like the castle and when they're getting married.
Hubert has started building their castle already.
It's finished.
Yeah, and King Stefan's like, hold on, man.
I want to meet my daughter and stuff.
And there's also this great bit with the minstrel who keeps like
swigging wine and
like stealing their drink
and I can only assume this wine is very potent because he gets drunk. Like passes out from like half a bottle.
I mean, it wouldn't be funny if he was just tipsy.
It's true. It's true. It's just that level of realism isn't there in this cartoon. Anyways, the three good fairies leave Aurora alone in a room for just a little bit.
Well, they have this moment where it's like they're really trying to make her feel better. Mm-hmm. And so in order to do that, Flora goes up behind her and she's like saying this poem about being royalty and then poofs her a crown. Mm-hmm. And Aurora's just looking at herself in the mirror like, fam, I don't want this, and just face palms or like face desks into the
and starts bawling.
Yeah, and they're like, all right, we'll let you have a moment.
Yeah. And wouldn't you know it, Maleficent has been watching them and comes in and hypnotizes Aurora.
This scene.
And leads her up back secret stairways. And the lighting in this scene. It's like, I've heard people talk about this lighting and like, how did they do this?
I mean, I have an idea of how they did this, but every time I look it up, I never get like
a definitive answer.
Yeah, on how they did this whole part of the film.
Because you got to remember, this was all drawn on paper.
Right, like there's no computers
to just do like lighting effects or anything.
Yeah, to be like open Photoshop, make a new layer, paint this a little bit. All right, now we'll turn up the opacity and get this lighting effect to show up.
And have it just slowly creep over all the stones and everything. It's like, how? How did they do this? If someone knows, please let me know.
Well, I mean, okay, here's my guess on how they did this. Because you can actually, like, see it take, like, steps. Like, the lighting goes in steps. So I think there literally is a different painting for each of those steps. Or, alternatively, there is different paintings like of like cells that are painted over one big giant painting that's like all that green lighting, that then they like put that black cell on top and then switch that up.
Oh. That would do it. I didn't even think about the having a black layer on top of it. But oh man. Man, just watch the lighting in this scene. I mean, the whole scene is amazing, but just the lighting itself is like, I just don't understand.
Yeah, and I mean, part of it is just like, I've never had to work with real traditional animation, with that technology level.
For like visual effects and lighting like that. Right,
but from what I know about it, that's the only way my mind can really comprehend how they did that.
Either way,
and then there's even little lighting effects like Flora, Fauna, and Merryweather going up the stairs, and they don't put this everywhere, but every once in a while there's a part in particular where
they
Flora
flash their light.
Yeah, has her wand out by this little windowsill, and you can see the red light of her wand affecting the windowsill. And that, I think, because there's actually 2 different lighting effects going on there, the green and the red, I think they actually would have had to put a cell on top of the painting, and then paint the red on top, and put that on top of the painting.
Yeah, but either way, that whole process must have been painstakingly difficult.
Especially with how detailed every single one of these backgrounds is.
Exactly. It's like this. I mean, this is like the only scene they really do this in, and it's
super effective.
Super effective, and completely understandable why they didn't try to do this the whole film, because good grief.
Mm-hmm.
Anyways, Maleficent leads her up to the tallest tower in the castle and manifests
a spinning wheel.
And boop, the deed is done.
She's just like, King Stefan, you seriously think I don't have my own spinning wheel? Like,
boop, I can make spinning wheels. Like a boop, boop, there, I made 2 more. Ooh, spinning wheel powers.
Just fill the room with spinning wheels.
So Aurora dies or goes into the deep sleep.
Touch it. Touch it, I say.
So the fairies are distraught. Because this is the time. Because everyone is at the castle ready to meet their princess.
Well, and I mean, Aurora is essentially dead.
Yeah. For all intents and purposes, she's dead.
Like, thank their lucky stars, she actually met someone out in the woods today. Because if she hadn't, she'd be dead.
She has no true love.
Yeah.
And I mean, we could go into the details of, true love on first sight and blah, blah, blah.
I don't want to.
And I don't care, it's a fairy tale.
It's a fairy tale.
Just
like,
deal with it.
People who have beef with this storyline, just like, what? It's a fairy tale.
Just get over it.
Yeah.
We've watched so many films here on Animation Pilgrimage, and like, I would say 75% of them have like true love on first sight or something like that in it.
Right. It's not just a Disney thing.
Yeah, no. Everybody does it because it's just the fairy tale aesthetic.
Yeah.
But anyways, at
least the Disney movie had them meet at all before they had true love. Because,
there are some others that we've watched. That doesn't happen.
No.
They literally meet once, and then that's it.
Yeah.
Either way, so the 3 good fairies are like, we can't go to King Stefan and say that we failed, so we're just going to cover everything up by putting the whole kingdom to sleep.
And this is another really cool... I mean, all the scenes in this movie are really cool, but this is another cool scene of just, like...
flying around and putting the blue-green tint over everything as they fall asleep.
That color palette, as they put everybody to sleep, just... It does make you have this feeling of, like... It almost kind of feels like death.
Mm-hmm.
Like they're literally casting sleeping death on everybody.
Yeah, and they all go to sleep.
But luckily...
forever until the curse is broken.
Yes.
Like they integrated it into the other one.
Yeah, so yet again, luckily Aurora did meet somebody out in the woods, because otherwise the whole kingdom would be screwed.
Yeah, and one of them overheard the king talking about this.
Well, talking to Stefan about the fact that
Prince Philip met someone in the woods today.
Yeah.
And they're like, oh, great, this is great. We can use Prince Philip. And they're like, oh,
that's convenient.
Oh, incredibly convenient. We need to go back to the cottage where he supposedly is and
go get him.
In the meantime, Prince Philip has run off to the cottage and got captured by Maleficent, who is waiting for him. And she's like, ha ha ha, I have plans for you. And she takes him away.
Maleficent's plans for Philip are so good.
Uh-huh.
I just love her. She's so freaking petty.
So she takes the prince back to her castle and puts him in the dungeon. She's like, I'm not gonna kill you.
No, she's not interested. She's not interested in killing anyone, really.
You will stay here for 100 years, and then, and only then, I will release you. The prince, the valiant prince, will ride off on his noble steed to go to the sleeping princess and wake her with love's true
First
kiss. So she's going to let him go. But he's going to be incredibly old. And he'll have to live with the fact that he's been stuck in a dungeon for 100 years, unable to do anything.
Yeah.
And so by the time he does show up, he's going to be like on his deathbed.
Yeah.
She is so petty, and I love this plan.
My real question is, though, is that actually her plan?
Or is that just what she's telling him?
Or is she just telling him this to piss him off?
Who knows?
Because knowing her, it could be either way. She might not cast a spell on him to make him live that long.
If he dies early, she might just be, well, he didn't live long enough. Obviously, he didn't love her enough.
Yes, I mean, I honestly believe that, as soon as she left that dungeon, she would have just, let him starve down there.
But either way, the three good fairies figure out that he's been captured by Maleficent, and they go in and they free him. And then they give him a magic sword and shield, and they have this grand escape scene where they're, throwing everything at him, and they just, no, that's flowers, and no, that's bubbles, and here, let's have a rainbow. Or two. They, did a couple of rainbows.
Yeah. I mean, the whole point of the fairies' magic is that it can't be malicious. The only time the fairies' magic ever does come off as malicious is when Merryweather turns Diablo into a statue.
Mm-hmm. And I'm sure in her mind she saw that as a good thing.
Oh, yeah. Well, I mean, earlier in the movie, Merryweather's like, oh, I'd like to turn Maleficent into a big old hop toad. And Flora's like, we can only do magic that's good, dear. And she's like, yeah, well, it would make me happy.
It's so good. And I'm sure that's the reasoning she used as she turned
Diablo into a statue.
Mm-hmm. Maleficent finds out just as they're escaping, and she's obviously not okay with
Not having it.
So she goes to the top of her tower and summons thunderstorms and smashes them against him.
Oh, in the forest of thorns.
Oh, yeah, and it's the thunderstorms don't work, so she just straight up sends a forest of thorns around the castle, which also do nothing.
I forgot how vicious these thorns looked.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of times you see simplified versions of it in the cover art or posters or even, just art around the internet or something like that.
Which is simple curvy vines with spikes on it, right? No. No, these are angry.
Oh gosh, they look vicious. I mean,
it's I don't want to go in there.
Yeah. I've been out in the woods and I've gotten caught in some thorns before, but I look at those things and I'm just like, God.
Also, you got to remember that even if Prince Philip somehow got out of that unscathed, his horse is riddled with thorns.
Oh, yeah. Poor Samson.
They never show it, but you just know that he has 10,000 magical thorns stuck all across his chest and legs.
Well, I mean, with how spindly Samson's legs are, I'm
they
sure,
probably just went straight through.
Yeah, he's probably got 15 new piercings down there.
Either way, Prince Philip makes it through, and she's like, all right, you know what? I'm dealing with this myself.
Yeah.
And she goes down, and she's like, now you'll deal with all the powers of hell! And turns into a giant evil black dragon that breathes green fire and snaps with the cymbals.
Oh, the sound effect is so good.
I can't do it justice.
No.
It's so good. It's such an iconic sound, too.
Yeah. It's it's such a bold choice of sound. Even though the whole point of this film is that they wanted it to be very opera, the symbols for her just like biting and the like breathing the fire.
Boosh.
Yeah. Like, it's so good. And I always wish that whenever they bring Maleficent back, like in Kingdom Hearts and stuff like that, I wish they would have kept that detail in.
Kept the cymbal crash for her snapping.
Because it's so iconic.
And they never do.
Yeah, and it's just never quite, like, as powerful.
It doesn't hit as hard.
Yeah.
But either way, she sets the Forest of Thorns on fire, and they're having a big old fight, and then the fairies are like, all right, we're making your sword magic, and it will fly true, so throw it and pierce the heart of evil, defeating it for good. And he's like, all right, swing! He throws it, pierces her heart, and she dies.
Ah!
Exactly. And with her death, all the thorns and evil magic goes away, and he runs to his sleeping princess and wakes her with the true love's kiss.
Yeah.
And everybody else wakes up and they're like, what's up? Excuse me, sorry, I must have dozed off.
Yeah, they're like, sorry, what happened?
And you were saying?
Yeah.
And then they come down together.
Oh yeah, I love that Prince Philip and Aurora just nonchalantly, they come down together, they just start dancing, and King Hubert's like,
okay.
what? I
don't...
Alright then, fine.
Okay.
I don't understand, but whatever.
This isn't what I was told.
Yeah.
But okay. And everyone's happy. And I guess one thing we didn't mention is obviously Flora and Merryweather have this whole spat with, like, should things be red or blue?
Yeah.
Specifically the dress. And, like, so during this final dancing sequence, the dress constantly is switching back and forth as they magically change the color.
Yeah.
And that's what we fade out on as they dance through the clouds.
So, Sean, should the dress be red or blue?
Oh. I think it looks better blue.
Same!
Honestly.
I do too.
And, I mean, it's pink or blue, but...
Yeah.
But I just think it looks better blue. I'm fine with either, but...
Tell us in the comments if you think the dress should be red or blue.
Oh boy.
The real answer is the dress should be green.
Probably not.
Probably not. The blue works pretty well. The other real answer is that Maleficent should have been red, according to Mark Davis.
Yeah?
Yeah. So now that we're finished with the story summary, let's go more into the Disney history. Mark Davis, there was a lot of infighting in this movie, mostly because Ivan Earl was the background artist for this film and essentially like the lead character designer, animation supervisor, even though he was just a background artist. And the one big like contributing thing that Walt did do for this movie is he did put his foot down and say, no, you guys actually have to listen to the art director on this film and do what he says.
This is the one thing.
Yeah, it's like, you gotta do this one thing for me, guys. And they were not having it. Well, I mean, okay. Mark Davis and Milk Hall were excited about the challenge. Everybody else, particularly Frank Thomas and Ollie Johnson, weren't so happy.
Well, that's because those guys have one style, and they do one style.
Yeah, Ollie in particular, I think, really had a hard time with it, from reports that I've gathered.
I'm not surprised.
Yeah, and I mean, it's understandable, because for those guys, drawing was more difficult than it was for Milt, and especially for Mark Davis. It's not necessarily that Mark Davis is a better draftsman than Frank and Ollie, but this style lent more to his strengths.
Yeah. It's like...
Whereas this style really, really challenged Frank and Ollie.
Where they're better with a lot more like round characters and allowing squash and stretch, because that doesn't exist in this movie.
Yeah. I bet you can probably take a guess who Frank and Ollie worked on.
Let me see. I'm pretty sure they worked on The King.
No.
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 No, that was all mostly Milk Hall.
Okay. I would guess that they worked on the 3 fairies then.
Yep. They worked on the 3 Good Fairies.
Okay. Well, they still did a fantastic job.
Yes, they did. They really
expanded their reservoir of skill.
Yeah.
I think that's a good way to put it.
Yeah, I mean, they really did. And they fought about it hard and a lot. And they even think that they somehow won a compromise.
With letting the characters be a little more portly and small?
I think so. But honestly, they fit the art direction so well that I'm like, if you guys did win a compromise...
I mean, you compromised still close enough to the art style that it's like, I can't even tell.
Yeah.
Because, that's the one thing. This is the thing. This movie's art direction...
We can finally talk about art direction.
We can talk about what real art direction is.
And I can finally have a standard to pit movies against. It's like, all right, art direction. Your example, Sleeping Beauty. If you don't meet this standard...
You fail at art direction.
You fail at art direction.
And, I mean, we can let you know that there are movies that do meet this standard.
Oh, yeah.
So it's not just like, oh, this is the impossible to reach art standard of art direction.
No, I mean, we've even seen definitely movies in recent years that have even better art direction than in Sleeping Beauty. But for the time, this was far and above...
the absolute best consistent art direction.
Yeah, and that's something that's always been bothering Walt. It's something that we've talked about multiple times, just over this decade of filmmaking, where, you know, like...
One or two characters just kind of stick out.
Yeah.
Or, like, specifically in...
Cinderella?
Oh, Cinderella. I was actually going to say Lady and the Tramp.
Okay, yeah.
Where every single human character looks completely different from a different, completely different art style.
Mm-hmm. And that had the best art direction up to...
like this one.
Yeah.
But now, all the humans feel like they fit together. All the creatures feel like they fit with the humans. All of these everythings fit within this universe of the backgrounds, and all of the effects also fit together with everything else. Mm-hmm. Everything about this movie's art direction works.
Yeah.
They had one style and they stuck with it hard.
Well, and I mean, that is because Ivan Earl made sure not to get pushed over by the animators. Mm-hmm. And Walt was 100% on his side. So, I mean, this can kind of be a rough topic to talk about because for some people it's like, you know, these guys were masters, you shouldn't be telling them what to do, and yet at the same time the Sleeping Beauty would not look as good as it does without that push.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because otherwise you'd still have 17 different character styles, and they wouldn't necessarily fit on the background. I'd be appalled to know what, the 3 Good Fairies would look like.
Oh, I can show you some, original concept art of them.
Okay.
They look very round and very out of place. But then there's also some character designs from, Ivan Earl, where they're just way too rigid and not friendly looking at all.
Well, that's an issue.
Yeah. So I do understand Frank and Ollie's, quarrel with him.
It's these characters are good. They should be round and friendly and good looking.
Yeah, they shouldn't look mean and angular like a lot of the rest of the film does. Mm-hmm.
I just want to say here, as you've heard from us going over the plot, the main characters of this movie are not Aurora. It's not Prince Philip.
Yeah, this is a mistake a lot of people make.
The main characters of this movie are the 3 Good Fairies. Mm-hmm. They make...
I'll fight you on this.
They make every single defining decision in this movie.
Yeah.
They're the ones that directly oppose Maleficent, even if they cannot fight themselves.
They move the plot forward. They solve the conflict.
They're also the comic relief.
Yeah, I mean...
They do everything.
Yeah.
They are the main characters. Everyone else is just tangential to what their whims of what they feel should be correct is doing.
Right.
That was poorly said, but you know what I meant.
I know what you meant. You said it very poorly, but I got your meaning. Yeah, the three good fairies are definitely the main characters, which is part of the reason why the story suffers.
Yeah, because they don't have any character arcs. There's no character arcs in this movie.
Well, and even though they're fighting for like the general good, there's no real definition of what good is and what good isn't. It's just that, Maleficent is bad.
So we beat her, and then we're the good guys.
The standard for good is, are you not as evil as Maleficent? Okay, then you're probably all right.
Uh-huh.
So, like we said earlier, the movie just doesn't have a whole lot to say. But, with that being said, I actually think that there's a lot more here for adults than there is for kids.
Yeah, I mean, there's very little comic relief in this movie. Mm-hmm. It's like, and a lot of it is more so jokes that are just going to, pass directly by children.
Right.
Like a lot of
the dressmaking scene.
Like,
I've seen... Well, we watched the audio commentary where it was Andrea Staja, John Lasseter, and Leonard Maltin doing an audio commentary on Sleeping Beauty, and they're talking about the dressmaking scene, and they're laughing about it, and all three of them are like, when I was a kid, I legitimately thought this was how you made a dress.
It's like you cut a hole in the bottom. It makes sense.
Yeah, and so I didn't really realize, how funny this was until I became an adult and I realized that that's not how it works.
It's not how it works at all.
Right.
Not even a little bit. And it's like, it looks terrible. That's because it's on you, dear. Kids aren't gonna get that joke. They're so passive-aggressive. It's so good.
It's so funny.
Just go back and watch this film just for the three good fairies. Mm-hmm. Every single time they're on screen, it's gold.
Yeah. Especially the whole part where they're trying to organize this party for Briar Rose. And I mean, it does have a few things there for kids. It has, the dragon fight. Mm-hmm. It has the Once Upon a Dream sequence out in the woods with all the animals, and especially the funny bit where all the animals steal Prince Philip's clothing, and so then they pretend to be a prince walking up to her, and it's such great animation because it doesn't make if you look at it and think about it, it doesn't make any sense how they're doing this, but it looks so natural.
That it doesn't matter.
It doesn't matter.
It doesn't matter the fact that...
The owl is just floating.
Yeah, the owl literally floats around quite a bit in this scene. No one's holding him. There's no reason that he is floating the way that he is. But it just works so well because you can imagine Aurora is just imagining this to be a real person, so he doesn't have to move like he realistically should.
Yeah.
He has to move like it works with Aurora. And he does. And it's great.
Yeah, and the fact that you don't even question it makes that great animation.
It's I certainly questioned it the second time around, but that's because we were just listening to the audio commentary the second time, and I was just kind of really watching the animation the second time, and he's just not moving.
He's not flapping his wings.
He's not flapping his wings.
No one's holding him up. Yeah.
Stuff like that. But first time you watch this movie, you're never gonna notice.
No.
Or I mean, if you're super detail oriented, you probably notice. But
yet again, though, it just looks so natural. Why even bother nitpicking it? Mm-hmm. And there's another scene like that where Philip is talking to his dad. And
he picks his dad up at one point?
Yeah, he picks his dad up and
his dad is obviously
swinging around. But it just looks so natural that you're Yeah, I believe Prince Philip could pick up this probably 300-pound man.
Or more.
Yeah.
It's like, this is a very rotund man, but I believe Prince Philip is strong enough to do this.
I believe Prince Philip could break my back.
Yeah. Prince Philip could break my hand, but with a handshake.
Yeah.
I believe it.
I also love little animation details. So many times in previous Disney films, you've been able to tell when something in a scene is going to be moved.
Mm-hmm.
Because, it's a painted background and then they've got to have a cell on top.
An animated cell on top.
But in this film, there's a couple of times where animals, are running across tree branches and the tree branches moves or something like that.
You can hardly tell that tree branch is going to move before it does.
Right. Which is, yet again, a huge accomplishment considering how detailed
everything
is in this movie. So, getting that branch to look like it's part of the background is even harder than it would be in other films.
Oh, yeah. It's so hard, but they pulled it off so well.
Mm-hmm.
Good job, ink and paint department. Holy crap.
Yeah.
Because I'm assuming they were the ones that did all of that.
Yeah.
I mean, of course they were.
Yeah. Yeah. And then just, there's other technical marvels in this film. Like Mark Davis's whole scene where Maleficent is telling Prince Philip her plan.
Mm-hmm.
That whole entire scene, Maleficent's just monologuing. And that's some really hard stuff to pull off in animation. And her face is just completely still and she's just emoting and telling what's going on. And the only distraction from her face is this slight opacity layer over the top where it's showing an old Prince Philip leaving her castle
on a horse that shouldn't be alive on it anymore.
Yeah, no. Maybe she gave the horse some magic juice or something.
He's a skeleton horse. Don't worry about it.
Yeah, don't worry about it. So yeah, that's some great stuff. Of course, they're using the CinemaScope that they started using for the first time in Lady and the Tramp, but this time it's a lot less noticeable because they actually planned the whole movie to be in CinemaScope.
So the movie works this wide. It's so long, you guys. Look at how long this is. We don't run movies this long anymore.
No.
You just don't.
No. And yeah, it's
Art house films
actually
put false bars on their movies to make it look like this.
Yeah. But I mean, it's they've actually did all the layout to make it look like this, whereas in Lady and the Tramp, you can see that most of the time they tried to keep all the action in the 4:3 aspect ratio and then had some extra stuff along the sides.
Yeah. And I know when they tried to transpose this movie into 4:3 for VHS and stuff, they had a difficult time figuring out where they're supposed to crop a lot of these scenes, and you just lose so much.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because it's 4:3 and this movie is so long, it's you're losing almost half of the screen to do this.
Yeah. Yeah, I have vague memories of watching it on 4:3, and I remember it was a completely different experience watching it
again
in the way it's supposed to be seen.
And it's so nice.
Yeah.
It's so good looking.
Mm-hmm. So yeah, this is the end of an era. Like I was saying earlier, after this film, it didn't make the money that
it needed to.
Which, I mean, there was no way in hell it was going to make the money it needed to.
Mm-hmm. It's its budget was insane, and did it even make back half of it while it was in theaters?
I would have to look that up again. I'll probably
on its
have
initial
an answer.
release, at least. Because one thing you got to remember is a lot of these old animated films is they would come back to theaters because there was no such thing as running it on TV or printing it on VHS or anything.
Yeah, that wasn't a thing yet.
That wasn't a thing. So the only time you got to see these movies is when they brought it out of the Disney Vault and re-showed it or redistributed it across the country at the theaters again.
Mm-hmm.
So that's just baffling to think about, especially nowadays because we have access to the internet. We can get access to pretty much any piece of media we want anytime for at least some price.
Yeah, I mean, imagine growing up in that time where it's like, you know, if you really wanted to see Sleeping Beauty again, you would have to wait until Disney decided to re-release it again in theaters. And then you would have to pay to go see it in theaters.
And it could be years before they did that.
Yeah, I think the typical ideology, at least by the time they got into like the 70s and 80s, was about every 7 years.
Okay.
They would release a film back into theaters.
Okay.
That's 7 years.
That's 7 years. You'd be a completely different person by the time you saw that movie again.
Yeah.
People change in that much time.
Yeah.
Movies would have a completely different meaning. Oh man, the nostalgia goggles would be real.
Oh yeah.
Oh man.
But anyway, so after this film, the ink and paint department closed, which means pretty much all the women who worked at Walt Disney Studios got let go.
And that's a damn shame.
Because these ladies did some fantastic work.
Because they're the final piece that you see on screen.
Yeah, which, I mean, I'm really, really thankful for this new process that's coming up that we'll get to talk about in the next Disney film, because I love rough animation.
I know you do.
I love it so much.
And it shows through in this next style that they do.
Yeah. And I am one of those people who is, you know, a little resentful of the ink and paint department not quite being as good as the rough animation. But these ladies did such a good job, and their contribution to animation is just so important. And
we need to remember they exist.
Right, and I'm so glad that nowadays, unfortunately, because so much time has passed, it's hard finding out, you know, a whole lot of information about who worked there. And
who exactly it was. Yeah,
and a lot of people who worked there have either died or don't talk about it. You know, they don't... A lot of the ladies who worked there don't even really think about their work as being art, which is sad because it most definitely is.
Oh, yeah.
But thankfully with the internet nowadays, there are some, like, books and stuff dedicated to the ink and paint department. And there's some, like, firsthand, like, testimonials from people who worked there. And, like, there's even times where, like, Renaissance Disney animators come forward and they're like, before they close that studio down, like, we would go to the ink and paint department because it was just, like, this empty building. And it was weird because it was just kind of left how it was when they shut it down.
So there was still, like, paints and stuff around?
So there was still paints and stuff there, and, like, the pigments they would freshly grind up to make the colors.
Oh my god, that's eerie.
It's eerie, but it's amazing because it's like these colors were so vibrant and, like, perfect, and...
Oh my god.
Like, I whenever the Renaissance animators talk about going into that building, I'm kind of floored because I'm just like, wow. And now that building's been destroyed and it's gone, so...
Oh.
Yeah, so no one can see it ever again.
Man.
Yep.
Well, that's a good way to end this. on a downer.
Oh.
But I think we should definitely go ahead and wrap this episode up. We've been talking for an hour. Would you recommend this film to Neil?
Most definitely. Especially, I think, if...
You've somehow never seen it before.
If you've never seen it before, or if you have memories of being like, that was the boring princess movie.
I mean, it still kind of is, but this time, don't go into it trying to pay attention to the princess, because she is really boring. Pay attention to the three good fairies, pay attention to Maleficent, pay attention to the artistry in display.
Yes, that was another thing I wanted to bring up. I will definitely put a link to this in the description if I can find it. There is an old Wonderful World of Disney featurette before this film came out, and I think it's called 3 or 5 artists paint a tree.
Oh.
And it's kind of talking about art direction and how it's weird to look at it because it's kind of a time capsule in that, like, this is before people realized that artists have styles. Or at least, like, this little featurette
The general public didn't understand what that means.
That you don't know what that means. Yeah, exactly. And so it kind of, like, breaks this down. And then you get to see 3 or 5. I don't remember who it all is. It's been a few years since I've watched this.
I remember seeing this.
Paint a tree. This. Yeah, and then it also shows some of the work in progress of painting some of the backgrounds in Sleeping Beauty. And if you had a hard time appreciating the backgrounds while we were just talking about it or while watching the film, actually watching them paint the backgrounds will make you be like, oh my god.
That one background took them weeks.
I've been sitting here for 5 minutes watching this guy paint, like, half a bush.
This movie's so good.
Yeah.
It's so good.
I'll be sure to put a link to that in the description. You should definitely go watch it. But other than that, I think that's it.
Okay.
Next time,
we're going back to Czechoslovakia again.
Yeah.
And we have... So I can only assume, I might be wrong, I can only assume it's going to be another stop-motion film. But I know the name of the film is A Midsummer's Night's Dream. So we get a Shakespeare adaptation.
Unless it's going to pull Night Before Christmas on us.
Again.
Yeah.
Or like that Russian film did, The Night Before Christmas, that had nothing to do with the poem.
Yeah. But I'm going to assume that this is actually going to be A Midsummer Night's Dream.
Yes. So join us back here next time as we experience more stop motion.
Hopefully.
Now shall you deal with me, O Prince, and all the powers of hell!